So hello and welcome to this very short video around the word reclaim our lives. Why do I use that phrase? And why is it at the heart of my philosophy? Basically, if you sat here, listening to my voice, watching this video clip, then something's telling you inside that there's more to be had. And you may have begun to notice things that are stopping you moving forward, resistance, blocks, maybe things pulling you back, stopping you from moving forward, unhelpful behaviours, and all those sort of things that speak to us intuitively that something within our internal environment that's stopping us moving forward. And that's why I talk about reclaim our lives, because those feelings are really pointing to the fact that there is more to us, and yet there are things that are stopping us from accessing that which we already are, things that are covering us up. So my philosophy and my practice is to help people let go of those things, let them go, dissipate, disappear, dissolve up, so they can be more themselves, so their background resting state can increase. They can make better use of their lives, have greater clarity, focus, resilience, and intention. And often what tells us that there is something stuck in our subconscious. We see other people moving on, doing the things that we'd like to do, but stop us from doing that. So that's my motivation. And I'd just like to remind you of of the the pressure cooker model, if you remember that. Pressure cooker. If you remember that, I remember I'm not very good drawing. So you've got natural levels of stress, natural level of pressure, which keeps us alive, which is necessary, and then you get all the other things that we acquire over life. Relationship difficulties, overwhelming events, all those sort of things. And when I talk about reclaiming, I mean not doing anything new, but just finding ways of releasing these events. So you imagine all those things being erased, so we see more of the page, more of us. That's why I keep talking about reclaim, because I think it's just a matter of fair play. The more freer we are, the more present we are, the more access we have to our natural resources to truly are, the greater the light and greater we enjoy having our lives. So really my motivation, my value is fair play, fairness, so everybody gets that opportunity. Last time I talked about anxiety. Some of these events would have anxiety associated with it, and I talked about the power of just trying to get that straight. That's it. So I talked about 7-11 breathing, just to notice those reactions of anxiety. First step being to notice them, doing something about them, or just allowing ourselves to relax through 7-11 breathing. The other little top tip, which like all the ones I'll be sharing with you, seem quite ordinary and normal, and that's really to focus on what we'd rather have. Okay, often these things grab our attention, and because they were created by the fight-flight mindset, we tend to react in that way as well. We try to get rid of them, we try to avoid them or suppress them in some way. If you imagine this being an example, that's one of my favourite toys to share with people. Okay, this is a famous thumb trap. If you grew up where I grew up, and the more you try and get away from those crosses in our subconscious, the tighter you get. So the trick is to move to what we'd rather have. What do we want instead? So that's today's top tip. When you notice these things, maybe ask yourself, what would I rather have instead? And what would that look like? What would that sound like? And what would that feel like? Because when we do that, we start creating in our imagination and creating neurological pathways that will contain that alternative, the thing we want instead, in the form of pictures, sounds, feelings, and consequences for ourselves, our families and people and community. Because when we have a good reason to take action, we stand a greater chance of actually taking that action. And also when we know what they look like, what it will feel like, or what it will sound like, we kind of go in there first, and that starts creating motivation. A bit like looking through a holiday brochure. Okay, you start off innocently, you start looking at it, then your mind starts getting active. And before you know it, you're booking that holiday only because you started to imagine what it would look like, what it would feel like, what it would sound like, and all the benefits to yourselves, your family, and others. So that's me for the moment, just really encouraging the concept of reclaiming our lives. If you want to know more, subscribe. I'll be giving you other strategies for letting go of those stuck events. And if you want to know some more, then get in touch, and we can work together and reclaim the you that's lying underneath all those old programs.